It's 1995, and the album Lemonade and Brownies has failed to produce a breakout song. Atlantic Records is threatening to drop the band. But while they're on tour, the 5 members of the band come up with an idea that would grab Howard Stern's attention and ultimately catapult Sugar Ray up the charts with hit after hit. And the rest? Well, that's now pop culture history.
I knew I couldn't go back.
You just put it out there.
She said you've got listening in on
Just dug even
Luck
deeper.
is the residue of design.
Nobody else was doing it, so why couldn't I?
That was the turning point.
Welcome to the BUCKiT podcast with Phil Keoghan. Every week I talk to mavericks, disruptors, and innovators. People who ditch the excuses, swerve off the predictable road, and epitomize what it means to tick it before you kick it.
If you're nice to people, have some manners, and remember some names, you're gonna have a good life.
Mark McGrath is known all over the world as the spiky-headed lead singer of the 90s pop phenomenon Sugar Ray, famous for huge hits like Fly, Every Morning, Someday, and When It's Over. The band has sold more than 10 million records worldwide, laying claim to multi-platinum albums and a number of top 40 hits, 2 of which went to number 1. It's hard to find someone who doesn't recognize at least one of their songs, which have become part of the emotional landscape of so many people's lives. Sugar Ray fans in every corner of the globe have a personal connection to the sound of Sugar Ray and Mark McGrath, who, by the way, was voted the sexiest rock star by People magazine in 1998 and then graced the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. But Mark completely smashes any stereotypes you might think about being a famous rock star and sex symbol. He takes delight in constantly making fun of himself, especially about his looks. He thinks being famous is great fun and loves it, but he doesn't feel like he's defined by it. And he really is big on the importance of good manners, remaining humble, and always being grateful for everything that life has to offer. He's just a regular guy and dad who's happy to play table tennis with the parents of his kids' friends on a Saturday night in the backyard. Thank you for being here, sexiest man alive, sexiest rock star of 1998. It's great to have you here.
You're welcome, Phil. And I don't like to paint with that brush, but I'm not afraid to use it every now and then.
Listen, there are very few people on the planet who have been given that title.
That's right. And I'm very proud to earn that. It's not something you hang your career on.
Right.
But every now and then I can pull it out of my back pocket. It looks good in my Wikipedia.
Oh, come on. I mean, that's a draw card right there.
It certainly is. It is. And especially when you say 21 years ago, I was the sexiest man in rock and roll. But what's scary is like, in my head, I still think I'm 21 and Justin Bieber.
Right.
You know
so
what I mean?
Do I sometimes.
Yeah, right. But
not Justin Bieber, but I mean, I think I'm younger.
But younger, right. But social media will let you know.
Yes.
Ooh, what happened?
Yes.
Age?
And you still look like the rock star that you were in 1998.
Well, you're throwing the name Rockstar very loosely. I'm sure people watching a rock star. I mean, I know real rock stars.
Listen,
I'm a guy who made it in the music business and a couple number 1 hits, and I'm very glad. But rockstar,
Mark, you're a very humble guy. I've met you a few times. I've told you you're extremely humble. But let's be honest. There are not many people on the planet who can claim to have had a number 1 hit. That is like a huge thing. Not just 1, but 2, right?
Well, yeah, two, and I don't like to really count, but 2 number 1s, 4
Mark,
top
come
10s,
on.
and 6 top 40s.
It's pretty
and
cool.
10 million records sold. Phil, it's the coolest thing in the world when I think back.
Of course
on that.
it is.
And that's not something I can take away. I'm the first guy to make fun of our band.
I know
I
you
kind
are.
of start the narrative in making fun of myself. So I've got this big bullseye. When you think of the 90s and you make fun of someone, it's me. I'm the guy you make fun of because I started. I made fun of my own band, But at the end of the day, I'm really proud of the songs we wrote. We wrote 4 songs that have stood the test of time that you hear on the radio, you hear in the malls, people that they play them when they're getting married. I have people come up to me and say, Fly was the first song my child ever sang. Now I have a twin 8-year-old. I'm gonna get a little choked up here. My God, his beer's working. And I know what that means. My kid's first song was Gangnam Style by Psy, unfortunately. But that song is Hey Jude to me because it means so much to my kids. So having people come up to me and say how much Fly means or Every Morning means, it touches my heart as a songwriter. So Every Morning and Fly are 2 number 1 songs that can never be taken away. I'm the first guy to make fun of my band and myself, but I'm very proud of those accomplishments.
Yeah, and I think as your kids get older, they're going to also realize how significant that is.
I hope so. I think they'll probably be embarrassed of things. I've done a lot of stupid things that are well documented.
Yeah.
And I've worked really hard at that
we'll
as
talk
well.
about some of those stupid things. But okay, so Sugar Ray, I want to talk about that because the first name for your band was Shrinky Dinky. Is that right?
It wasn't Shrinky Dinky, but it was a Shrinky Dinx. Now,
Shrinky Dinx.
Shrinky Dinx. There was a toy here in America.
I know the toy.
Right. Was it?
Explain the toy so like people who are listening in New Zealand right now maybe don't know what
Absolutely.
a Shrinky Dinky is.
It was something that would be like in a Mickey Mouse, or it would be like in a Donald Duck trademark. And it was a thing you cut out, and I don't know why this happened, but the second thing was you put it in an oven, and then it became like a toy. Now, a child in an oven is probably the worst idea ever, with all due respect to Shrinky Dinks. But we loved those toys that meant it was different in the 70s, man. It was different. But we loved these toys. And then every time Star Wars came out or something, there'd be Star Wars Shrinky Dinks, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming. There'd be, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shrinky Dinks. So it was a toy that always had this sort of continuity and always came around every couple of years. So we loved the name, and it reminded us of being young. And we had our final two band names were going to be Chicken Lip or Shrinky Dinks. Just to show you where our band was going. We're not talking Pearl Jam.
Were
here.
you drinking at the time that you were like?
I'm Irish. Born Shrinky. So we became the Shrinky Dinks, and we were a band that played your party. We'd set up on a beach like this, down in Newport Beach, California, a house not this nice unless the parents were gone. There'd be drums and guitars and bass set up in the corner. We just played. We'd play Ramones songs, Sex Pistols songs, Blondie songs, Run DMC songs. We had so many influences that would later affect how we wrote songs. We didn't know it then. And we said, we'll be the Shrinky Dinks. We'll play a few parties. That'll be it. But slowly this thing snowballed, and we said, what if we wrote one or two songs on our own? And we did write one or two songs on our own. One was Caboose. The other was a song called Lick Me. Showing you
where your maturity was at.
And nothing's changed. So you could actually lie to record labels in the 90s. We said, oh yeah, we get 100 songs and it's no problem. And
you can't lie now?
I mean, I guess you could sort of, but
right.
I think there's such an there's so much information available. And it's hard to really like hoodwink somebody. Someone that's going to give you $1 million. It's a little bit harder, like they did in the 90s. So we got a record deal with Atlantic Records, and getting back to the Shrinky Dinks thing.
Yes.
We're all excited. We're like, yeah, the Shrinky Dinks record deal, blah blah blah.
What did the record label think of the name? Did they like?
They were fine. They didn't care.
They were cool.
Until a licensing agreement, which I didn't even know what that meant, came from Mattel saying, oh, that's great. You're the Shrinky Dinks. Fantastic. It costs $500,000 a year, blah, 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 10-year deal. At the end of this, we get a 6%. I mean, all this legalese, business terms, like my mind just went, and I went, guys, I think we'll change our name, and we'll alert the 12 fans we have that we're changing our name. Our record hadn't come out yet, so it wasn't too much of a precarious position where we're going to lose fans or some sort of marketing angle. So we changed the name to Sugar Ray because I'm a huge boxing fan.
Right.
And I sold the guys.
But didn't you worry that you were going to then run into more legal issues and Sugar Ray was going to come after
somehow, some way, Sugar Ray did not
Somehow, some
trademark
way?
the name.
Isn't that a line from one of your songs?
Someday.
Yo, someday.
Someday.
So,
exactly.
Okay.
That sounds better though. Someday, some way. Well,
Okay. Anyway, I thought you were suddenly launching into your song lyrics.
But the funniest thing is, fellas, we thought, well, for sure, Sugar Ray trademarked the name, but he didn't trademark the name for
Are
some
you
reason.
serious?
But he's recently.
Have you ever talked to him about that?
It would be funny. We'd run into him in the 90s, and he'd go, I think I've got some mail for you guys. And I go, why? He goes, they're Polaroid pictures that I don't think are sent for me. Just a good of a stand-up comedian, too. He was great.
Like all good rock stars, they get the Polaroids.
Great. This is when people sent mail, believe it or not. And he was fantastic. But recently, he's come up to us and I kind of want to get the trademark back and all that. And the trademarks are bread and butter. You lose the trademark. So we've worked something out, and we're all good now. But it did come back sort of later, come up to can we all kind of share this trademark? I'm Sugar Ray, And so we worked something out. But the greatest guy in the world and a great boxer.
Well, listen, I've got to just tell you, I mean, Shrinky Dink, I don't know. I really like. I think Sugar. I think you made the right choice.
Might have worked out a little bit better.
Classic style.
Yeah, we weren't really anticipating possibly having a hit song ever as the Shrinky Dinks. I mean, we were playing Judas Priest songs poorly back then. We never could see the big picture. And by divine intervention and a lot of serendipity, we were able to stumble upon a couple of hits.
Speaking of those couple of hits, it wasn't just a couple. It was a lot of hits. It was great hits and songs that have become the soundtrack of people's lives. You know, you think of our lives, like our generation, we think of the soundtracks we think of the Cure, or we were talking about U2. You hear that song and suddenly you're transported back to that time. So for those people who have been living under a rock and who need to go back to the 90s, if they haven't gone back to the 90s, and remember those great tracks, give us some of the titles of your big hits.
Well, the song that really, put us over the top, and it was our first. Everybody
Yes.
loves the first. It's the one that's most special to me, and people ask me what's your favorite song to play, and this one's it. A song called "Fly."
Yeah.
Which we were just we were raised on the beaches here of Southern California, and down here in the '80s there was a healthy dose of punk rock, reggae, rock, heavy metal, and hip hop, and it was all kind of jumbled up, and we didn't know how to put it together. We didn't know, how do you fit all these influences that are obviously so different but mean so much to all of us? I had Run DMC in my collection. I had the Beach Boys. I had Slayer. And I had Depeche Mode and The Cure.
Any reggae? Did you have reggae in your Cure?
Gosh,
Bob
Steel
Marley,
Pulse.
Peter Tosh?
Our guitar player played reggae 4 nights a week. That's how he supported himself.
Right.
So when you hear reggae or the reggae riffs...
Because you've got a lot of that rhythm. You hear it, underlying rhythm. Yeah,
absolutely.
that 3/4 thing we're going on.
Absolutely. All the chink, all that,
Yeah.
and then all those little guitar accents that are all from our guitar player Rodney,
Right.
who is still in a reggae band, still plays for fun down in Laguna Beach at a place called the Sandpiper, the Dirty Bird, folks know what I'm talking about. And so it was a huge influence on us. But you think reggae, and you think all these incredible bands, Depeche Mode, The Cure, the Sex Pistols to me had the biggest influence.
Oh, yeah.
The biggest. I named my son Lydon after Johnny Rotten.
Did you really?
Well, Rotten didn't have the same
So
ring as
you
Lydon
have
did.
just to be clear, you got twins.
Twins, 8-year-old twins.
8-year-old twins.
Lydon and Hartley.
And you just came from one of their basketball matches.
I did. My son's basketball game.
And let's just let everybody know, because I know they need to know the results.
Yes.
They unfortunately lost the game by 1 point, but your son's shot sat on the rim and was just teetering.
It was heartbreaking.
You know what? You look incredibly calm considering what you've just been through tonight.
I've been through hell, Phil, and I thank you for realizing that. And these kids do not, these 8-year-old
and
kids,
they've
they
been
played
through
their
hell.
heart out.
Yes, they did.
They were down 6 at the half. Now, when scores are 18-10, down 6 is a huge, huge obstacle to climb. Somehow these kids just got together.
They rallied together.
It wasn't anything we said. I'm not going to take credit.
No.
They worked
Are you
amongst
one of the
themselves.
parents that yells on the sideline?
Dude, I'm the guy you hate.
Oh, really?
I'm like, 2-3! Low! I'm that guy.
Oh, no. You're obnoxious.
Yes.
Yes.
I tend to be a bit loud. I am that coach on the sidelines. I became everything I hated.
Really?
Meaning when I was younger, I'm like, God, I hate loud coaches.
Really?
Yeah. Dude, we'll play the game. We get it. We don't play.
And then you
I
just
became
couldn't
my
help
dad.
yourself.
And I became my dad. I became my dad. And I love my dad, but I used to hate the things he'd say to me,
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you don't do this, you got to do that. And I'm doing that to my son now. And I can see him going,
Well, at the end of the day, he's going to remember that you turned up to the games and that you were there and you were the big supporter. And, as a son, that's what you want, right? You want to know
Without a
that
doubt.
your parents are there supporting you. It's
Not
a
to
great.
sound cheesy, Phil, but my parents got divorced when I was 12.
Yeah.
And that was a really tough age. I think I am still messed up from it. I still haven't really discussed what that meant.
Especially at 12.
At 12, because for a full year, I was in Newport Beach, California. It's all Ralph Lauren collections, and everybody's holidaying in Palm Springs, and everybody's life's perfect, but not really, So I was like, oh my God, if I tell my friends my parents are divorced, they're not going to like me. And this is my best friend, McG, who's still my best friend today, because his parents' family straight out of Central Casting is the most perfect family in the world, beautiful family. They're sort of my, second family that raised me. And it hurt me so bad when they were divorced. But they were at every sporting event together. They were at every birthday together.
Even once they were divorced.
And I remember my friends even saying, God, isn't it weird that your mom and dad here and they're divorced? I'd say, no, it'd be weird if they
it's
weren't
cool.
here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
what you're saying really has a lot of weight with me because my dad was at every practice and everything. Not
And you
overbearing. He
remember
wasn't a
that
coach.
stuff.
That's all I remember.
Yeah.
My dad was at every gig, the first gigs we played.
Yeah.
My dad actually paid for us to play the Whiskey in 1989. We had a pay to play policy. You had to buy tickets to get on a show. My dad gave us $300 to get on the show at the Whiskey, and he was there with his friends. And there was 20 people there. He brought 16 of them.
Yeah.
And we were selling T-shirts. He bought 7 of them. So he was always so supportive. And even though
were your mom and your dad supportive of your music? So as far as your music. You're a big sports fan, right?
Right, without a doubt.
What was it? Did you play music instruments? Were you in high school drama and singing and musicals? I mean, what was your musical upbringing?
You'll meet no bigger music fan than me.
Really?
I love.
You had vinyl when you were a kid, or did you have CDs? Or
I had a ton of vinyl, and CDs started around '84, I think, with Born in the USA, Bruce Springsteen. So
and Brothers in Arms. Remember Dire Straits?
Dire Straits still sounds
that
better
album
than
is
any
incredible.
Dire Straits are unbelievable. So I had a lot of CDs, a lot of LPs. Because some of the old records, I like the punk records and some of the independent, like some of the Depeche Mode singles and Bauhaus stuff, you couldn't get on CD back then. So LPs were a huge part of my DNA growing up. So I was just a gigantic music fan. And I would just soak it all in. I remember,
savor the albums, like open them up and pull out the things
the
and look
second
at
engineer, who's the third. That's why I'm the 3-time
You
Rock
were
and Roll
looking
Jeopardy
that deep.
champion.
That's deep.
Yeah, I'm the 3-time Rock and Roll Jeopardy champion for a reason.
Yes.
You know, I can shamefully name all 4 guys in Winger for a reason. You know, trigonometry right through my ear, you know, but all 5 guys that ran around, no problem, you know.
Seriously, it was in your blood.
I'm just a fan. It's just I love music so much. And there was the local band. Every high school's got their band that plays every party. And that band was this band called the Tories. And they were kind of a 60s retro mod band. They played a lot of Who, Creedence, Clearwater, you know, all the Beatles stuff. And they were just kind of that 60s fun thing. And they played every party. I noticed that all the girls gravitated toward the guys in the band. You know, I've never been the smartest guy in the world, and not the stupidest either.
You were smart enough to know.
So I go, I'm going to carry this
I want to be that guy. Yes.
Just to get near the act, just get close. So I just became like a de facto roadie.
Yeah.
I made myself useful to them because they didn't want to bring the guitars in. It made them feel a little more special having me bringing in. And then by proxy with the band, more people were like, oh, wow, this guy knows the band, you know, and it would be like sort of I'd be like the doorway to the band. So I get to meet those people that way. And then
were you always a good-looking guy? I mean,
no, I was a giant zit face through like.
Really?
Dude, giant craters.
Like, later on, when you became sexiest rock star alive in 1998.
Well, it was a down year.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it was me, John Popper.
But were there people that came out of the woodwork like, oh my God, Mark McGrath is like. He's the sexiest rock star alive. Were like people surprised by that?
My high school friends were like, oh, I always knew there was something there. I'm like, yeah. Once those
underneath the zits, I knew there was a guy
away,
there.
There was a gem there, man. You kidding me?
Peel back the layers. He's like an onion. Look at that guy. He's beautiful.
It took a while, really, because and I was insecure and awkward, and I was a late bloomer, and I was a virgin until I was 17.
So you were it would be fair to say you were the ugly duckling who really flourished.
Acting, man, was the real thing in high school. I was a real bummer. I was super insecure about it. And I went to USC. I was actually in a house with Will Ferrell.
He's the same age as us.
Delta Tau Delta. Yeah, Will Ferrell is our age.
Really?
Yeah. And
you still in contact with him today?
we weren't even in contact then.
Oh, okay.
Will was just another guy in the house. He wasn't the funny guy.
He saw your back knee and he was like,
I'm out of here.
I'm gone.
And I didn't even finish, back then you'd go through this whole apprenticeship thing, but they call it something, I can't remember.
Hazing, like a hazing kind of thing?
You were a pledge. You're a pledge.
A pledge, right.
You go through this whole pledgeship, and then over the summer, you'd go home and then come back before the school started for Hell Week. Well, that summer I went home, stayed on the beach in Newport, and didn't contact one person from the house. I'm like, why am I going back?
Really?
And those people I hung on the beach ended up being my band. So I'm getting way off track here.
No, but it's interesting to understand. It was just you just didn't make that connection.
The whole Greek life wasn't for me. It's a huge part of the USC experience, and I get it. But I went home every weekend in Newport, which is an hour drive.
So did you finish that degree, or did you?
I did.
You did.
I actually did. I initially tried to go business,
Yeah.
Because everybody from Newport Beach, California goes to USC and goes into finance or business. That's just what you do.
Actually, I know a few people who went to USC and who were in finance and business.
Especially from the Orange County area.
Yeah.
So I was down that pipeline because I didn't know what to do. I go, well, I'll just delay my life.
And your dad must have been happy that you were going that way.
My dad was into finance in Orange County.
And were you floating up the whole idea of being a rock star at that time with your dad and your mom and dad?
No, because then I was just still a giant music fan. This band, the Tories, was still playing. I was still their fake roadie, blah, blah, blah.
Were you doing any singing? Were you playing any instruments?
One night, the Tories, this band that I loved, that I was being their roadie, was going to play Back in Black by AC/DC at a party. Now, the singer was so altruistic to his 60s beliefs, his psychedelia, the 60s aesthetic, that he would not sing Back in Black. He just, I'm not singing it. I go, I'll do it. I'm dumb enough to try. So I went out there and I think I screamed, I yelled, I was enthusiastic, and there was a pool. It was a summer gig, and I was right outside by the pool.
And you're how old now? Like 22?
Now I'm 21.
21?
I think I'm my junior or sophomore year in college.
Right.
So there was zero high school sort of musicianship, zero singing, nothing. I couldn't sing.
You were just a music fan.
I was a fan of music. I love music.
So the passion's coming through.
Passion's coming through. No, the passion's coming through in the performance that night. So I sing, I scream, and I can see people kind of going, Jesus, what is this? Like, they weren't necessarily impressed, but they were amused,
Right. Or they entertained.
Entertained.
Yeah.
Well said, entertained. So at the end of the thing, I put the mic in the stand, and then I did a flip in the pool to sort of end my thing, and that was my thing, and blah, blah, blah. Didn't think about it. Long story short, that band broke up about 5 months later because now hard rock's really coming into play. This is 88, 89.
Yeah.
And that Hoodoo Gurus, post-60s psychedelia thing was really out of fashion. Your only shot at sort of any sort of career was sort of getting into this LA Guns, Motley Crue, Faster Pussycat thing that was happening out here in the Strip. And we're from LA, so that was just, I mean, we're from Newport, so LA was kind of our beacon of light in terms of what the possibilities were,
right,
or how realistic something could be. So they decided to disband the Tories to go in a more hard rock direction. They go, well, that idiot who was saying Back in Black was, I mean, he wasn't that good, but he was amusing.
So this is all part of your self-deprecating thing, where
they'll tell you that. The guys in my band.
No,
will tell
but
you
I'm
that.
saying you do this a lot, and we'll get to that. But anyway, so they realize you got some talent, you got something.
Not talent. They said there's something there.
Mark, it's got to be talent. It's got to be. What else is it?
It's entertain. I guess if you can entertain people,
yeah.
I guess it might be a talent.
Yes.
I mean, so, but again, it was all developing. There was
Yeah.
just, they saw something there. They go, he did something. People were really tuned in, and they said, let's give him a shot. So I remember our first rehearsal, and our bass player was super, like, he was a musician, he was a muso, he was into Geddy Lee and all these really, Jaco Pastorius, all these really technical bass players. And we played a couple songs. I think we did Blondies one way or another. We did Hell's Bells by AC/DC, and I took there was a big water jug that was empty over here. And, there's a part at the start of Hell's Bells that goes, bong, it's a bell. And I had a great idea. I took the drumstick and I went, bong, on this big water jug, this big plastic thing. And it sounds lame right now, and it was lame. But it showed my ability to entertain and just, I think.
But they also realized that this
guy's serious.
Right. This
He'll
guy, like,
serve
he gets
whatever
it.
it takes.
He gets it.
Gets it.
Yeah.
Gets it, Phil.
Yeah. So you got their respect in that moment, too, because they're thinking, well, the guy is like, he's thinking. He's connected to the material.
He's knowing his shortcomings.
And at this stage, were you a good-looking guy?
I was just getting older and skinnier, and things were just starting to work for me. And I started to look like a front man a little bit. I was getting taller,
Yeah.
And so I had the look down. I was kind of like an NFL prospect, He's 6'4", he's 230, but he goes to Tuckahoe State. I don't know. He's never seen big competition yet. He's a Division III QB. Well, he's a seventh rounder, but Tom Brady was. So it was a long shot, I think at the time.
And your parents are thinking what at this point?
Well, here's the thing of my parents. They didn't care what I did. And they go, I don't care. Both of them said this to me.
Because by this point, you're working through your degree.
Now I'm in. My dad said I want a 3.0 at USC.
Right.
If you don't get that, I'm pulling the resources. Thank God he paid.
So they covered all of that.
They covered all that. I get like a 3.001 fraction.
Yeah.
I barely make it every semester.
But you make it.
Well, I graduated. My final GPA was 2.98. My dad goes, you would do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
My last thing.
You're pushing it, son. You're pushing it.
He wanted 3.0, and the last semester brought me down just a little, and he's just like, I've already got my
But
degree
you
done.
graduated.
Yeah, so I'm a junior now, and things are starting to happen, and now the band is becoming something we do a lot. We play a lot of
mostly local, going
all
around.
local, some LA, a lot of San Diego. San Diego was a real hotbed for us. Because we had a bunch of our friends in high school that went down to San Diego State, which is one of the biggest party schools of all time. Certainly back then in the 80s and the early 90s. So we did about 2, 3, 4 gigs a week. And we started getting better as musicians, playing these cover songs. We started to learn our roles as in a band. So we became, I wouldn't say a tight band. We were always always a loose band. Never really, tight musos or really one of those bands you're like, wow, they got it together. But we were getting our shtick together, and that's what all those club gigs did, and playing all those covers did for us.
What is that like, Mark, when you're that guy who's up the front and the band's playing around you, but at the end of the day, they're hanging off every word you're singing?
Yeah.
And you look out in the crowd and you see them saying the words that are coming out of your mouth, right? I mean, describe that to people who will never experience that in their life.
Why, it's that thing that keeps me coming back every day. It's the thing that makes me perform the rest of my life. I wish I could, articulate what that is.
Yeah.
It's that drug that you can't describe. It's intangible. It's something that I'm always grasping, and the first time's always as good as the last time. As a performer,
it's addictive.
It's beyond addictive, and getting that adulation. Like, it was fun when I was doing cover songs.
Heaven
forbid you write your own song, and now you have a number one song that you wrote. I remember the
wow,
pinnacle
that
of my
must be
career.
crazy. I'm just thinking about that. It's one thing to sing somebody else's words, but then when you see someone else singing back your words,
and you could see like the passion when they're singing, and they're they're holding each other like this and singing, and it means so much. Even now, nostalgia is a beautiful word to me.
Yeah.
A lot of bands of my era, they run from the word. No, we're still relevant, blah, blah. Yeah, dude. I can't wait for your new music, whoever you are. We're trading on nostalgia now. And to me, if you look up nostalgia in dictionary, it says great moments.
Yeah.
Things that last forever.
And deep emotion.
And
transporting. Because for me, again, going back to this whole idea that when you hear that song, you know where you were and what you were doing, and you get transported.
Without a doubt.
And we're connecting to a better time sometimes. Escapism.
Because we always look back way better than it actually was.
Yeah.
People like the 90s was the greatest decade ever. I go, it really wasn't. I got a #1 song. Couldn't have been that great. You know what I'm saying? And so but people just look back and paint this picture, and it's just so much better. And thank God they do, because I still got a career for it. And sometimes people go, are you still doing that band thing?
Are you still doing that band thing?
And I'm like, would you say that to a dentist that's 50? Right. Are you still doing that dental thing?
Yeah.
That's what I do. I'm a dentist. I'm not looking for a new career. I'm not in your TV every day.
Yeah.
But it's what I do.
Have you ever smacked anybody?
Yeah,
What do you mean? What am I still doing that band thing?
I understand, because it was something to them that was new and relevant. And but to me, it's like, wow, man. If I get to just perform these songs the rest of my life, and if I'm in a Denny's in Barstow at 75 playing Fly 3 times a night, I am the happiest place. Don't worry about me. We play clubs and stuff like that, and I'm honored to do it. To see our fans are very vocal, and they're very fervent, and they're very expressive, and they tell me how much this music means to them. And so that I will always protect these songs and sing them as are. There'll never be any sort of.
You're not cynical about the past, right?
I've seen bands go, let's just get this over with,
right?
And they'll play this hit song off the top, the one song anybody's coming to see.
And then they try to play the new stuff that a lot of people can't connect with because it has no meaning to them. And it's sort of like they want to jam it down the throat of the audience who likes them because of what they did before.
Which to me, I've never understood.
Right.
There's bands that have all these hit songs in their back pocket and won't play them on some artistic license thing. And
no, we've got to move on.
Look, God bless them, and you're a stronger performer than me, because if I knew I had a couple of these hits in my back pocket and I didn't play them, I would beat myself up, And as a fan, I'd be gutted if some of the bands I see didn't play these hits. Look, I've noticed that audiences and fans, they're very, they will listen to some new songs. They will. They won't listen to lots of new songs, and they certainly don't want to be sold a record.
But you've got to give them that
give them what
trip.
they came for.
Give them what they came for, and don't be a dick about it.
That's all. I think the King said it best. Give the people what they want.
What they want.
It ain't that hard.
Mark,
and they'll take a couple songs,
Mark, you've been on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine.
That was awesome. It felt like I was defiling the brand. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
But what was that like? Did you ever walk up to a newsstand and go, holy crap, that's me on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine?
Without a doubt I did. And it was so surreal, because we walked through the airport, and this one they had magazines. Magazines were
much bigger than they were today.
Gigantic. They were in all the windows.
Because people weren't reading online. You had to go get the copy. You went to get your copy of Playboy, or people who were subscribing to those magazines,
or Maxim, or whatever
National
it was.
Geographic,
Sports Illustrated, whatever your thing was. And to walk through an airport and see myself, it was almost like I almost felt like I went to one of those theme parks, and you could put your face on the cover of Time magazine, like Man of the Year. I'm like, how did this happen? And it's just.
How did it happen? Like, what was the journey to that? Like, do you remember getting the call? Like,
I do. I think, at the time after Fly came out, and Fly was the anomaly on the record.
That was a good song.
Well, it was,
It's just one of those songs. It's just like, boom, straight away.
It's had a lot of legs, and it's the reason why I'm still talking to you today. And it still feels fresh. When I hear it,
Sure does.
It still feels like the first time. And I am really proud of that one. VH1 voted number 52 best song of the 90s.
Is that right?
Think of all those songs released. It was 57. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Recently, Billboard had us as the 8th best alternative band of the 90s or so. Just really unbelievable accolades we don't deserve, like other bands get, not us. So looking back, as I get more distant from when I was living in it, I'm more appreciative of all that stuff. But, being on the cover it was ridiculous. And so Fly was the anomaly, and it was happening. It was the #1 song. And then people thought, thanks for playing Sugar Ray. We've got
there were a lot of critics
waiting for you over here to party, and here's your one-hit wonder cruise ship. Have some fun.
But there were a lot of people who really did sort of think, oh, well, they're just like a one-hit wonder.
And and guess what? I did. I thought we were a one-hit wonder because Fly
Did the
was,
band?
Well, we were all going, how did that happen? Because Fly was the anomaly on the record floor it was on.
God, that's got to be a scary feeling. Like you got a number one, you got a hit.
Careful what you ask for.
Right? And then you're suddenly there and you think, holy crap, how are we going to keep this thing going? And you said, I understand why some people don't like me. You said in the article, I've done a lot of douchey things. I don't know what those are. I've done a lot of douchey things. I understand why people don't particularly like me. What do you mean by you've done a lot of douchey things? Because all I hear about you from everybody, bar none, and including our mutual friends, is that you're like this nice, considerate, gracious guy who really believes in manners and what do you mean you did a lot of douchey things?
I do believe in those things, certainly. And like, I think people that know me may feel that way, but I've just done some stupid things.
Like
and
what?
I just come out of bars drunk and acted like an idiot and said stupid things. And, I regret some things I've done. I had a hairdo that was probably didn't age that well. The highlights did not age that well, my friend.
Well, how
highlights
did you have
and hammer pants are
Are
the
you
same
still
thing.
highlighting?
Oh, gosh, yeah. Here's the thing. And
I'm not highlighting anymore, by the way. I used to.
Yeah, no,
But
I see.
80s, 90s, I used to highlight.
Can I dive in?
Yeah, dive in.
Are you dying?
I'm not dying.
You have no gray.
I've got a couple
No,
of flecks.
don't do no.
No dying. I swear to you.
I believe you.
Yeah, no.
Because it looks great. Because here's my thing.
You're dying?
About 10 years ago.
You started dying.
No, I'm not dying.
Mark, is there
I've been
anything?
dying my whole life.
Is there anything you're not taking? Proecia and the back acne stuff, and now hair dye. What else are you taking?
You're telling me I'm talented. I've told you I am a robot. I'm smoking mirrors. I'm a pharmaceutical nightmare. That's who I am.
If there's a nuclear winter and you can't go down to the drugstore,
No, I'll survive that one because I've got I'm not made of real man's flesh. I'm chemical. But it's funny when we talk about this. It's this vanity game that we're in.
Right.
You do what you do to stay in it. I don't want to lose my hair.
yeah.
Okay. I don't mean to be so vain, and I don't want to gain 500 pounds.
Well, you
I'm
are
a lead singer in a band, and
Yeah.
people want me to be 300 pounds and bald. They would love to see that.
Who would like to see
And
that?
the social media out there. Anyway,
Right.
like I said, I'm just a target of all things douchey from the 90s. And that's why I say, when I say I don't understand why people don't like me, I understand why people think, oh, that guy. Because I've just done things and, I am not the most talented guy. I've got more than I deserve. I've had 2 jobs I don't really
I think you're more talented. I think you're more talented than you give yourself credit for, which I think is one of the reasons that you're so good at what you do, because you don't take yourself too seriously.
Well, if that's a talent, then you're right about that.
Well, no, but I think it's that humility. People have picked up on that about you, and I think it's allowed you to be where you are today because you're not living in the past, and yet you are prepared to go back to the past and celebrate the past. So I think it's a cool. I think it's a cool part of who you are. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't seem to me like you're losing sleep over the fact that you're not necessarily on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine anymore.
No, because the fact that I ever was once, it warms my heart.
Right.
And the fact that I'm not on MTV or have hit songs anymore, it doesn't. I did it. I'm so thankful to still be able to do this thing. You know, and maybe my talent. Look, here's one thing that my parents always taught me: if you're nice to people, have some manners, and remember some names, you're going to have a good life.
You and I met on Extra back in 2004 when you first got started.
That was dude, I remember you were one of the first celebrities that walked in. I'm like, that's Phil. And my mom, rest her soul, favorite
Listen,
show in
I'm
the
like
world.
the smallest celebrity that walked in.
Not even.
Dude, you interviewed some crazy
kidding me?
celebrities. And you have some really funny stories about some of the celebrities.
I do.
Like the
Some
first,
doozies,
like
man.
you're a rock star, okay? So and you're used to being in front of thousands of people. You're used to performing. Suddenly they go, hey, Mark, you know what? You want to be the host on Extra? And you're like, okay. So you're like gung ho. You go do it, and then up rocks. Let's talk about the William Shatner time.
My.
So William Shatner, right? And again, William Shatner, Star Trek. I mean,
legend. I love the guy.
Yeah,
and he's
he's got a good sense of humor.
I thought he did.
Yes.
No.
Okay, so he walks up to you. You're a host.
My first interview ever at Extra was at the Emmys.
Right.
Now you've done.
He's just won an award.
Just won for I think Boston Legal or something.
Yeah.
And it's his 50th Emmy, and he's done 100 million of these things, and he's got his wife there, and he's over the whole thing, and he's got this thing, and it's my first interview. And Dana Devin, you know Dana, right? And she's like, all right, Mark, I'll let you do. Shatner's pretty cool, so I'll let you go first.
Are you sweating?
beyond sweaty.
Right.
Because all those award shows, I don't care what they are, in LA, it's always 145 degrees.
Yeah.
And
Especially before they put the covers in and people were fainting.
And you got a tuxedo on. I'm stressed out. So William Shatner walks back and he's with his wife and stuff and he just wins. And William Shatner's got an air about him.
Yeah.
It's just like,
it's a cockiness.
and he's got a
about it.
face looking like you're the dumbest guy he's ever seen.
Right.
And I certainly was to him anyway. Because he comes up to me and Dana goes, okay, Mark. She kind of elbows me in the side. Take him. I go, okay. I go, Mr. Shatner, what, and he goes, and I went, ah! And I looked at Dana and she jumped in and then like saved the interview. And I go, it's my first time I go, it's my first time I'm in a band. He goes, I can tell. He just caught me so off guard because Dana's like, he's cool. Go ahead. And I'm like, this is backstage. It's all champagne and roses and I'm like, wow, I'm gonna go back to my tour bus. It's too gnarly in this entertainment news business, So that was my first interview off the bat. I had to learn to be subtle, to bring it down a lot. And I remember the best sort of gauge of how I did. I walked into 7-Eleven about 6 months after I started Extra. And there was a guy in 7-Eleven getting coffee. It's about 6 a.m. And it looked like he'd probably run up all night having fun. Neck tattoos, like kind of ominous and scary looking. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God. And he walks up to me, he goes, hey, Mark. And I go, hey, dude, what's up? What's up, bro? He goes, you sucked when you started, but you're getting better at Extra. Keep it up. And I'm like, all right, man. This guy, if I'm passing the muster with this guy.
Yeah.
So I had to learn in front of America how to be a host. I think you saw that. At first I was like, I didn't know what to do with my hands. I
don't know if people realize it's not easy, right? Well, I mean, you when you're in a job particularly like that, you've got to be up with the zeitgeist. I mean, you've got to be up with popular culture. You've got to be up with what's going on. Suddenly you find yourself, standing in front of William Shatner. But tell us some of the other stories, like Al Pacino. Wasn't there a story with Al Pacino? What happened with him?
Al Pacino it was a bit of it took a little piece of my soul that night.
Really?
Because Al Pacino was doing a play like in Pasadena.
Right.
He was
with that voice, right?
Right.
It's like almost like God.
Yeah. It is like, and Al Pacino was a god.
An acting god anyway.
When he walks down, there's something going,
there's an aura.
Different air. Yeah. And it's not like, it's not like a reality guy. It's Al Pacino.
Yeah.
And all the respect that man deserves. And so he was doing like Hamlet for the 90th time in the Pasadena Playhouse that, we were going to talk nothing about.
Yeah.
So we have to ask him 30 questions about the play. But we're going to hit him with one question at the end that we're going to use because that's how entertainment news works. And by the way, entertainment news doesn't decide what to give you. You decide what to give it. So people used to ask me, why so much about Britney and Paris Hilton? And because of you, they do the research.
Right.
Look, we'll do more Todd Bridges if you want. You know what I mean? But we understand that what you want. So that was the reason. So I know I've got to hit this question at the end. So I'm like, so Al, wow, when you get in character and as King Lear, you must really, what are you feeling? So, oh yeah, King Lear, oh yeah. And he's telling me a little thing.
Wow, you do a good Al Pacino.
Who doesn't?
Right. Well, no, but I mean, you got him down.
He's just this whole thing. I'm like, oh my God, I got to ask him. Inside, I'm dying because I know what's coming. The 19th.
Are they in your ear saying, go ask the question?
No, because it's a remote. So
but you just know that you got to do it.
They don't care about anything else. I could have asked this question first and left.
Right.
But I can't.
It's got to be an asinine question.
So Kevin and Brittany had just broken up. So
people have even forgotten who the hell Kevin is now.
Right.
But they know who Britney Spears is.
Without a doubt.
But Kevin, I don't know.
But in 2007,
Phil,
this was a hot topic, especially in the world of entertainment.
So you got to hit the question.
So I know the question's coming. I'm sweating more than this fire is making me sweat right now, right?
Yes.
So here it comes, the question. I go, hey Al, congratulations on the play here in Pasadena. It's fantastic. I'm sure everybody's going to come out and see it. We're a different kind of news show, and I've got to ask this because our viewers want to know.
Oh, so you were like setting it up like, hey, listen, I'm really sorry. I got to
soft shoe this thing.
I'm
in a band. I can't believe these guys want this. I go, what do you think about Kevin and Brittany breaking up?
Oh boy.
He stops and looks at me and goes, you're better than that. You're better than that. And then walked away.
Oh.
And I just went, hey, like a dog, like a hurt paw. And I just went, I can't.
What did you say?
I don't have much esteem left.
Right.
And it just went through my shoes.
Oh.
And it's gone. I just went.
Was this live?
No, it wasn't live.
Wasn't live.
I don't care. I don't care if it was live. It was
just
live
that,
to me.
Yeah.
I was
and you're
there.
still living it.
I was there.
And I brought it up, and I'm sorry.
No, it's actually my favorite story because it kind of just shows you. And by the way, that's just what people want to see at Extra. Now, I didn't get an answer from Al Pacino.
Yeah.
But you know what the first was? Tonight at Extra, We get Al Pacino answer the question. Hey Al, what do you think about Kevin and Brittany break?
And guess what?
Pause.
He basically said what you expected him to say, which is, I don't care.
We didn't even
Basically,
show it. We go, well, I was a little reluctant to answer that. We say at the end of the 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But go see blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But they just wanted that. So Al, what do you think about Kevin and Brittany break? Because
Right.
I'd be like, boy, I wonder what
He probably couldn't have done any better.
Well, that's all they wanted.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how those shows work, and they do a great job. And Mario, Who Replaced Me, has been there 14 years. Fantastic. And we talked about this earlier about those shows, and people think it's a little fluffy, and it is entertainment news, and it's not brain surgery, but the people behind the scenes that work in those shows,
really
some
work
of
hard.
the smartest, most whip-smart, hard-working, the crew guys, the cameramen.
Do you want to ever do anything like that again?
I mean, I would. I wouldn't be against it. You know, it was.
I mean, like,
it was beyond my skill set, though, Phil. You know, like the publicist juggling.
But what about another hosting gig? Like some other kind of hosting gig? Like maybe some, like a travel show or, maybe a music show.
Every now and then
I mean, you'd be great at doing a music show.
Well, I think I've aged out. You know what I'm saying? There's we're all waiting for Pat Sajak and Alex Trebek. Aren't we all? I don't think I'll get a call. You'll be the first one in.
Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, we're all waiting for that stuff. But so like you kind of age out, Thankfully, it's not. I mean, I always have.
Yeah, but there's always a place. You know what I mean?
And every time there's a best of the '90s and CNN
just with your depth of knowledge of music, I'm just thinking of.
Well, the irony is Jeff Probst.
Yeah.
How I first met him, he was hosting Rock and Roll Jeopardy.
Rock and Roll Jeopardy.
That's how I first met him. I go,
right, in the 90s.
In the 90s. This guy's pretty good. You should do something else sometime. Well, good luck with that, little host guy.
Well, I met him at FX back in the early 90s.
Yeah, when it was live in New York, right?
Live in that breakfast show with Tom Bergeron.
Yes.
And then
three of the greatest hosts ever: yourself, Tom Bergeron, and Jeff Probst.
Well, we were all given like this incredible opportunity. And then Jeff and I were up for Survivor together. Mm-hmm. If you remember that.
I do.
Then thankfully I ended up getting an Amazing Race. But
you did all right.
But I remember that. And so
what
with
a
all
trio! Look at that. It's like the Pippen.
Mark, let's not
Jordan,
go there. Let's not
no,
go there.
But what a triumphant there of hosts. Some of the best. Tom Bergeron. You guys are just the most effortless hosts. You put Seacrest in there. You got the Beatles the host.
Who's Ringo Starr? No, listen. But in all seriousness, I mean, I would love to see you take all that musical knowledge and then your passion for music. I love that. I mean, I love that you're still touring. I mean, you're still playing your music, and you live with such passion, and you're such a passionate parent.
Yeah, thank you.
And that you have that reputation, and then you did this really brave thing, and you went on Big Brother. Like you exposed your whole body and soul right down to going into the bathroom of the Big Brother house with a microphone in there. Thank God there wasn't a camera.
Oh, my God. Well, I don't know which is worse, a microphone or a camera, Phil. They're both bad news.
I'm just wondering. The sound of what's going on is probably worse than what's actually going on.
It's all bad.
Yeah, it's all bad.
Yeah.
So you made a really brave choice to go into that house.
Well,
and you did very well, too, by the way.
Funny guys working and going, what a brave choice to go to Big Brother.
The guy, the coal miner in Kentucky's going, that guy's brave. I got to go into a cave every day.
This guy hanging drywall right now.
Let me
really
rephrase that.
Yeah.
I think I just cannot imagine like being under a microscope, literally under a microscope. For how long were you in the house?
Well, the regular one goes 3 months.
Yeah.
And my hat is off to those kids. Now they're kids. They're most of their occupation says unemployed. You've noticed that on the Big Brother.
They've got time.
At most seasons.
Yes.
They're 23-year-old kids that didn't really get a job yet, and they can go spend 3 months in Big Brother, and we all love it. Me, I've got a family. I've got a business to run.
Yeah.
And you're off the grid. Now, Celebrity Big Brother, they don't treat you any differently, just that it's a shorter season.
And when you say off the grid, you're not hearing any outside news from the world.
No news, no nothing.
A wall could have been built while you were in that house and you wouldn't have known.
Without a doubt. The government shut down and we didn't know.
Right.
The Super Bowl got played and we didn't know what happened.
Right.
I mean, that's a crime
You're getting
in America.
nothing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
not to know what's going on with the Super
Bowl.
That
Brady lost. I would have liked to have known that. Our buddy Stephen Coleman was happy to see the Eagles win. But so they really, and that's what made it so hard. And I miss my family so much, and your emotional range and spectrums are so heightened in there because you are starved for love, attention. The guys are cool, and you small talk with them, and then you're bored of them. Like Meta World Peace, I was so stoked to see him for an hour. This is a Laker, he's got a chip, and then 2 hours, I'm like, what else we got?
Right.
And I'm like, well, we got 20 hours to kill right now.
So no TV?
There's no TV.
No
there's
radio.
No radio. If those who are religious can bring in a Bible. That is it. There's no reading. You can't even sing.
They won't let you have a book in there?
No books. Are you kidding me? No.
What about like a Sudoku or something?
They had chess. That was it. And I didn't play. I learned how to play chess.
Oh my! I'm sorry, but it sounds like going to prison.
Well,
I think in prison you got more options.
I think El Chapo.
You can
had
go
it
to
better
the
than
yard
we did.
and do a workout.
That was another thing. We couldn't go outside either half the time. We never went outside during the day. You're really, really super off the grid, and that was super hard. And I remember they play a couple songs in the morning to wake us up.
Yeah.
Now you're so starved.
This is not like Groundhog Day where they play the same piece of music every single day.
To their credit, they play, but sometimes they'd play like some Danny Elfman weird Nightmare Before Christmas song that would like freak you out and the lights would be off and that would freak you out. But then one day they played Fleetwood Mac's Landslide.
Oh, okay. So
and
you
the
still have
lights
some
are
class.
off and
bit of tear.
And I'm like doing this. I'm under my covers. And then they put the lights on. I look across me. Ross Matthews crying. Marissa crying. Meta World Peace. Nothing. I didn't care. But we were all crying because we were listening so intently to the song.
You were desperate for something.
Just give me something, emotion.
Yeah.
And when you lived in that, another thing would make you crazy. We were in a box inside a box inside a box.
Yeah.
I mean, they built a studio. They built a house.
Right. Inside
a box.
Yes.
So they could run all the cameras around it inside a studio.
Yeah.
So then if your brain would just go crazy, which mine would.
You were literally boxed in. You got third in the end, didn't you?
I got third. Indeed.
You got third, and you were very close to winning. And then your wife said to you, basically, you screwed up.
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
I got to the I'm
but she was still pleased to see you when you got out.
It was a really beautiful thing because, I saw her hugging her like, I'm never gonna leave again.
I'm never going back to the house again.
Seriously, because it just
you wouldn't go back, would you?
I couldn't.
You were talking, Mark, about that Watershed moment, like the moment when it all became really real to you, and that there was this possibility of something big happening in your life. This passionate young man who had suddenly an opportunity to be on the world stage in music. And what was that moment?
There was a moment after our first record came out called Lemonade and Brownies.
Yes.
Not one of my better titles, in 1995. And we went around the world with it. It got a big chance from a major label, Atlantic Records, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Didn't really sell too much. And we were on the cusp of being dropped, meaning the labels, thanks for playing.
Yep.
Go back to the real world. We got on Howard Stern at the end of that cycle. We covered a song he wrote.
He's been a big supporter of yours, right?
Gigantic supporter. Howard Stern, a huge supporter. He used to say, like he always does, he goes, I write the greatest songs in the world.
Yeah.
I wrote these two songs in eighth grade called Psychedelic B and Silver Nickels and Silver Dimes. I don't know why any of these bands don't cover these songs. They're hit songs, blah, blah, blah. And they were awful. He was like in eighth grade. So we go, let's take a shot. We were literally touring from, I think we're going from Wyoming to Denver, and we stopped at the Denver Community College and asked the students in the music program, will you guys record a song for us? So we did a punk rock version of his song Psychedelic B, and it took us 3 hours. These kids donated their time. We just rocked it out, punked it out, and then sent it FedEx with our last $50 we had. We didn't eat that night, so we could send it. I mean, really, this is a true story. And there was no cell phones back then, no nothing. So we sent off the tape to New York City, to Baba Booey.
He was on K-Rock at that time, right?
K-Rock in New York at the time, exactly. Now, this was an unsolicited tape. We just sent it.
Yeah.
With no
And it went directly to Baba Booey?
And Baba Booey got it.
For those people who don't know, Gary's the producer.
Of Howard Stern. And he still answers
big
all
tooth
the email.
jackass, Baba Booey.
Tata Toothy.
Yeah,
Fa
Tata
Fa
Floofy,
all that good stuff. And when Howard Stern came to LA in 91, I was in, because I had a girlfriend in San Francisco where Howard Stern was since like the 80s, who said, "God, you remind me of Howard Stern. You have the same kind of humor," which, I mean, I didn't know what that meant, but she would send
That's
me
a compliment.
gigantic.
Yeah.
She would send me tapes of his shows, and I went, wow. Then he came to LA, and I'm like, this is my hero. This is, Howard Stern. So we sent the tape, and I remember we said, okay, we've got about another week of tour support left, and then we're done with the cycle, and Atlantic Records is going to say thanks for playing. So we drive all night to get to our next show. I think our next show was in Des Moines or something. And we get to the club, and we knock on the door, and the manager there goes, "You got to call your manager right now, right now." We go, "Why?" He goes, "There's an emergency. You got to call right now." We're going, "Oh my God, who died?" We didn't know, because there was no cell phones. There was no way to contact, no email, no nothing. Pre-internet. I mean, this is 95. And we get our manager on the phone. He goes, dude, Howard Stern's been playing the song 5 times all day in the morning. This is when Howard had 20 million listeners.
Yeah.
He was at the peak of his powers.
Yeah.
He was syndicated
This
all over the country.
95 was, I think, when his film came out too.
Yeah, he was.
Remember?
I think he was filming. I think 96 is when it came out, but he was filming.
But he was talking about his film.
talking
and,
about Private Parts. It was the peak
Private
of
Parts,
his
yeah.
super
And his
power.
book.
He had 2 books out at the time.
I think the book had come out.
That's
yeah,
right.
That's right.
That's
yeah.
right. He couldn't have been bigger, you know?
Yeah. And now the biggest man,
In radio.
biggest show in radio is talking about you.
It's talking about Sugar.
Yep.
Who's a Sugar Ray? Finally, smartest man I know covers one of my songs. And, it was a punky, crappy, slammy version of Psychedelic B, and it was just.
Well, he
and
was 8 years old.
Well, yeah, so it's better than I could have written 8 years old. So he goes, our manager goes, leave the van, leave this. You've got tickets waiting for you at Des Moines. He
Really?
wants you on. This is a Wednesday night now. He goes, he wants you on the show Friday morning.
No
leave
way.
the van, leave your bags. Don't touch, don't pass go, don't stop and go. Go to New York. So we literally got in a plane, and we barely made it. We took the red eye here, there. We had no money. It's just this long story to get there. Now our record label's because they're all such huge Howard Stern fans.
Yeah.
Now guys we've never seen at the label come down to watch us play. Now we went from selling 10 records a week to the next week we sold 1,500 to 2,000 to 3,000. To the label said, listen, we want to capitalize on this Howard Stern momentum. We'll let you make another record. So we're making another record now. Now, we have this record, we have this material. There's one song on there that sounds like it could be a hit. The song's called Fly. And I waited to the last chance to record this thing because I knew all the pressure was going to be on me to sing the song. And I didn't have a vocal style at the point. I would sing, I'd do falsetto, I'd thrash it out, I'd rap, before rap rock, anything, because I didn't have a vocal style. Can't really sing, you might have noticed that. So I'm in there, gonna record Fly. Now the label's in there because they know this is the only song. Everybody's involved, and I'm out there by myself. There's a red light, and our producer David Kahn is in there, who had just come off the success of What I Got by Sublime.
Wow.
Loving What I Got. They cracked the code of that Southern California punk rock, reggae, hip hop sound we were talking about.
Yeah.
So now we got a song that can kind of maybe fit that sort of narrative and those tenets to maybe be a hit. And it feels like it could hit if it's sang right.
Yeah.
So I'm about to sing the song. I've got the lyrics that I wrote, and I've got my melody. I'm literally shaking, going, ah! And I take a couple stabs at it. It's going nowhere. It's really flat and just doesn't work. And David Kahn comes in on the intercom. He goes, Mark? He goes, yeah. I go, yeah, dude. He goes, I've got some good news and some bad news. And being an Irishman, I go, well, give me the bad news first. He goes, okay. You can't sing. Now I'm about to sing Fly, our only shot, capitalizing on the Howard Stern momentum. Otherwise it is over for Sugar Ray.
No shit. Why would he say that to you, though?
Because that was his style. He was a taskmaster. He was a
was
no
just
BS
said it like
guy.
it is.
Told it like it is.
Oh.
Now I went, there's got to be a silver lining here. I go, beep, David, what could possibly be the good news? He goes, if you listen to me on every note of this song, you've got a tone. I think we can sell 2 million records on this song.
Wow.
If you just listen to me. And I just surrendered on my knees like, show me the way. Please show me the way. So we literally Frankenstein every bit of that. Let's stop. And he'd get, it's early Pro Tools, meaning they'd fix the key.
Right. They would just.
So thank God for Pro Tools, because I wouldn't be here talking to you either. So Pro Tools would pull up the key and pull it down. Long story short, he Frankenstein all the verses together to show me my voice. My voice is my talking voice. Wow. All around the world, statues crumble. I don't want to be, I want to be in my talking voice.
Right.
And so he showed me, led me the way. And that was a moment when I just surrendered.
What everything. A genius.
He was a
so
genius.
You owe him a lot, and you owe Howard Stern a lot.
Beyond. But that was a moment I can go back. We talked about nostalgia, Deprication.
Yeah.
That's a watershed moment where I go, I surrender. And guess what? That record ended up selling 2 million copies. Damn. Off that one song. We didn't even have a follow-up single.
Wow.
Yeah, we didn't even have a follow-up single.
Wow.
That's why, 1459, the record that followed that was selling 3 million.
1459 because people were critical of you, and because they said, oh, he's just going to have his 15 minutes of fame. Yep. And you were like, well, screw you. 1459 as in...
Warhol's, everybody will have their 15 minutes of fame in the future, which has never been more sure than today.
Absolutely.
This was 20 years ago.
And you were like, all right, 1459.
Right. So I said this. And no one's more self-aware than me of myself in the band. No one makes fun of the band better than me. We've already kind of gone over this,
Yes.
So I said, okay, we're coming out with another record for sure, no matter what. I'm sure every critic's got their first 2 paragraphs written. Oh, somehow this crappy band from Newport Beach slid in last year with a big song, but they can't. I could see all of their criticisms written already. So I said, how can I diffuse that? What is there a way to do it? So I, boom, came up with the Warhol idea. 14 minutes and 59 seconds. Now, if the record failed, it's the greatest title of all time.
Yeah.
If the record succeeds, it's the greatest title of all time.
Yeah.
So when I came back to the studio, we went to Chandara. You know Chandara, that Thai place in Hollywood?
Absolutely.
It was right across from Keoghan. The studio was right across the street. And I go to our producer, David Kahn. I go, who did the next record, We're Not Stupid. I go, dude, I've got the title of the record. He goes, what is it? I go 14 minutes and 59 seconds. He goes, you mean like a digital clock? I go, exactly.
Exactly. And I had that album, and I love that album.
Dude,
listen,
thank you.
I love that, and I love getting transported back with that album.
It's fun.
Listen, you've been amazing. I want to ask you, if you were going to take a road trip across America, and you could take anybody in the car, 3 people in the car with you, you could drive across America.
Are they living or dead?
Any time in history. Mm-hmm. People you know, don't know, any time in history, who would you take in the car?
I would take Johnny Rotten. For sure, because he had such a profound influence on me in getting on stage.
Yes.
He said, doesn't matter if you can sing or not, if you got the cojones, you get on stage. He would be one for sure. Mine are going to be all musical. You know,
what about Howard Stern? Would you take him?
You definitely take Howard Stern.
Yeah.
For sure. Forgive me, because he was
come
huge.
on. What a car man.
Without a doubt, Howard Stern.
Yep.
And I would probably also, well, I got to get historical, right? I'm going to read back a little bit. I might take someone like, this is going to sound altruistic, and I'm going to be that douche right now. Gandhi.
No way.
Stern.
Hold on. I'm
Gandhi,
trying to think of Howard Stern with Gandhi.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah?
I think it would take a long time for all the gloves to come off and get to know each other.
But you know what? I think Howard Stern would get on really well with Gandhi because
Without a doubt.
Howard Stern's into this whole, the meditation and all of that.
Absolutely.
And Howard Stern, in my mind, one of the greatest interviewers
of all time.
The king of all media. Okay, so your last day on Earth. Mm-hmm. What do you do with it?
Okay. First thing I do is I go to Del Taco and get a Del beef burrito with extra cheese and sour cream, a cheese quesadilla, and a medium Mr. Pibb. They don't pay me. It's my favorite thing. I pop my last Propecia because I got to look good going out, bro. I got to look good, right? And then, you know what? I take my wife and kids, and we get, is money an option?
Money's no option.
Okay. Then we jump on a jet to Hawaii because we're going to get 3 more hours.
Don't waste the flight time,
We're going to get 3 more hours, though.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see.
And this all happens early. I go to Del Taco at 5 in the morning, and I've done that many times. I've woken up, I've fallen asleep drunk with a burrito.
Yeah.
Del Taco burrito like this. Woke up the next morning. Ate the burrito because I'm that type of guy.
I love it.
So now I go to Hawaii, right?
Yes.
And I go to the Grand Wailea there because I love it, and my kids love it. And I just sit there and I enjoy the last, probably about 12 hours left.
Yes.
I just sit there and enjoy last with my family, and that's it. And then to top it all off, that night, okay, Paul McCartney's on bass, Eddie Van Halen's on guitar, and Matt Chamberlain from Pearl Jam is playing drums, and we're doing all covers of my choice.
I love it.
Until my last second.
Yeah, and your last breath, your last note.
My last note would be, it has to be Fly.
It has to be Fly.
All around the world.
Yes.
There we go.
Absolutely. Man, you are
Phil,
awesome.
You're a joy, brother.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
You're just, the day I met you, I go, that guy's such a good guy. And 20 years later, thanks for having me here.
I think Allison and Steve are going to love this interview.
I think they will.
You can watch this podcast online at philkeoghan.com. And let me know what's on your bucket list. You never know. You might be my next guest. Don't forget, ticket before you kick it.